Good evening, Rogues Gallery agent. I bid thee welcome to the Spider. Today, we're going to talk all about the brand new assassin class in Flesh and Blood. It is my most anticipated class ever. It's the one that I've been dreaming of. I can't wait to talk more about it, to do a deep dive of this class. I'm going to do a bunch more content on this as things go on, but this is going to be kind of like our first foray into the class and all of the mechanics. So let's check it out. Here we also have the awesome artwork by Sam Yang, the Regicide, the death of the Emperor at the hands of ARAKNI, Huntsman. So, yeah, let's start talking about the cards. Let's kick it off with ARAKNI, Huntsman. And let's make sure this looks all right on the screen. It looks pretty good. Okay. So we have ARAKNI Huntsman. This is our very first assassin hero. We have the standard for intellect, 40 health, and he says, whenever you play a card with contract, you may look at the top card of target opponent's deck. You may put it on the bottom. What is super interesting about this is it doesn't have to be the opponent that is being targeted with the contract. So in a multiplayer setting, you can attack one player with a contract card and then use ARAKNI's ability to look at another player's deck, which I think is actually kind of hilarious. Also, it's just really good for setting up your contracts. Obviously, it synergizes with his own mechanics. It has those awesome pits borders signifying that ARAKNI is from the pits. In the lore, ARAKNI is essentially a part of this super secret assassination guild that has never been witnessed. It's only just kind of like rumors. They're basically phantoms, which is awesome. It's super cool. Love the lore, love the spider, and ARAKNI is just awesome. I'm not sure of ARAKNI's role in this organization, if they're like guildmaster or just an agent or something, but I cannot wait to learn more about them. Hopefully in the next set. That would be awesome. A pit set? Ooh, give me that. All right, so there's ARAKNI. Here's Youngarachne, which is also super interesting. Same mechanics, obviously, but here we have the young version with the 20 health. This version of ARAKNI, you can see a little bit more of what they look like as a person, where this one they're more covered in this death shroud. Dromite calls this like a death poncho. She calls it like a death shroud. Whereas they're not really wearing it in this one. It's more kind of like this patchwork leather outfit here with a little bit of a different mask. Here we have like this a little bit more subdued mask, a little bit more damaged and cracked. There's almost like blood on the top. Whereas this one has got this just awesome Oni mask, this mask of perdition that we'll talk about in just a moment. A lot of folks were wondering about ARAKNI's gender, actually, and I reached out to Robbie Wen from Legend Story Studios, the creative director of Flesh and Blood, and I think partial owner or founder of Legend Story Studios. If you don't know who Robbie Wen is, he is the unsung hero of Flesh and Blood, basically the person who oversees all of the creative endeavors. I asked him about ARAKNI's gender because I wanted to get the voice correct. Or rather, I asked after the fact. I was like, I hope it was all right. And Robbie said that it's meant to be ambiguous. So, yeah, I dig it. I like it quite a bit. It's really cool, very mysterious character, very cool character. What's this lump? Is it a big Resident Evil eyeball under there, or is it like a bunch of spiders? I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about Spider's Bite. That's what you call a segue. Spider's Bite is the assassin weapon. It's a one-handed dagger, so we can have two of them here. And it says, once per turn action for 2 resources, attack, and it has go again. It attacks for 1, but it also has piercing 1, which is a new keyword that says, if it's defended by an equipment, it gets +1, so it's really good against armor. And it says, when this hits a hero, the next time they defend with 1 or more attack action cards this turn, those cards have -1 while defending. This is really cool. It's difficult to block because it makes it so your opponent basically has to block with cards from their hand, or they have to block with robust pieces of equipment. Or they risk losing that, that extra point of block on their attack action cards. I like this card a lot. Obviously, you run 2 of them, so you can kind of do some dagger choppy chop. It's going to be expensive because they cost 2 to play, so it's going to cost 4 to do both of them. But still, really cool, and I like it. I really like it. Very flavorful for assassin. Having these weapons that are just really hard to defend against, and if you get shanked by one, it's gonna hurt. It's going to debilitate you. Next up, we have the legendary assassin equipment piece, the Black Tech Whisperers. Oh, I love this. This piece of equipment really brings the assassin package together. It's what I was really missing and looking for when I first saw my preview card Eradicate. And I was like, okay, how do I make this work? What cards are going to synergize with it? And I suspected that Snapdragon Scalers would be very good. Turns out we have a better Snapdragon Scalers. We have Black Tech Whisperers. Well, it's not 100% better, but it is better. Let's talk about it. So it's an assassin equipment legs. It blocks for 1. It does have battle worn, so you can block with it and then do its ability. And I would recommend probably doing its ability, like blocking with it early, so that you can do its ability, because it has a recursion effect. Oh, assassin has recursion effects. It's like everything I want in a card game. Oh, I love it so much. So it says, while Black Tech Whisperers is in your graveyard, at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control. If you do, equip it. Oh, it's so sweet. So it keeps coming back as long as you have silvers. It also says, attack reaction, destroy it. Target assassin attack action card gains. When this hits a hero, it gains go again. So that's the big trick here. You have to make sure your attack hits. Otherwise, you won't get that go again. And this is an attack reaction, so you can kind of whiff here, because you can do your action, and then your opponent has an opportunity to do a reaction as well, and so they can defense react or something like that. So you basically lose your Whisperers, and your attack does not get go again. So in some senses, the Snapdragon Scalers is like just a guaranteed go again, but this is much more of a long game, grindy option, and it also blocks a lot and keeps coming back. It's perfect. I love it. Also, the art is amazing. You know, friendship with the illusory boots over Black Tech Whisperer's new friend. What are those illusory boots called? I can't even think of it now. The one for illusionist. I don't know. These ones are better. Well, I don't know about better. I like them more. They're more my speed. Here we have the Mask of Perdition. Awesome. Absolutely freaking awesome. While Mask of Perdition is in your graveyard at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control. If you do, equip it. So same mechanic as the Black Tech Whisperers. It's recursion. It also has 1 block and battle worn. So good. It also has an attack reaction. And this one says, destroy Mask of Perdition. Target assassin attack action gains. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. So you're going to get 1 more banish to help fulfill your contracts. Let's talk about the contracts with my preview card, Eradicate. If you haven't seen my spoiler video for this, maybe go check it out. I think I did a pretty good job. And if you like metal, you'll probably like it, because it's pretty metal. So here we have Eradicate. This is a 1-drop assassin attack action, blocks for 3, attacks for 4. It has the new contract ability. And the contract says, when you are contracted, or not when, you are contracted to banish opponent's yellow cards. Now, each contract card is going to require something different. So this one cares about yellow cards. We have a card that cares about red cards, blue cards, attack actions, all this kind of stuff. But whenever you complete the contract, you're going to create a silver token. Then when this hits a hero, banish the top X cards of their deck, where X is the damage dealt by Eradicate. This is incredibly good because it helps fuel your other contract cards on the combat chain, because contract stays active for the whole combat chain. So with Eradicate, you can actually trigger multiple contracts at the same time on the combat chain if you deal a lot of damage. So you can, eradicate a bunch of cards, maybe hit a yellow card, a blue card, a red card, and fulfill all of them. So it's really, really good. No assassin card, or at least no assassin attack action in Dynasty has go again by itself. So giving these cards go again with stuff like Black Tech Whispers or attack reactions like Razor Reflex is going to be very, very important and crucial to the strategy. It's going to be kind of like Dorinthia in that way, where her weapon doesn't have go again normally. You have to give it go again. I feel Assassin is going to be very, very similar like that. Next up, we have Leave No Witnesses. Oh, I love this card. Love the art. Love the effect. Oh, I'm in love with this card. It's a 0-drop, 4 attack, 3 blocks, so it's a 0 for 4. Great. Every Assassin card, by the way, blocks for 3. So we're just going to get that out of the way here. They all block for 3. It's a class that blocks very well. Even their attack reactions block for 3. This one has contract, but this one is contracted to banish red cards. Every time you do the contract, you get a silver token. So keep that in mind. The reward for completing the contract is always silver. This one says, when it hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck and up to 1 card in their arsenal. So this is kind of like a mini Command and Conquer, which is super nice. This card's great. It's not as scary as Command and Conquer, because Command and Conquer also gets around like certain defense reactions, but it's still really good. It's a 0 for 4, and you banish the top card. and 1 card in their arsenal. So this is why, by the way, Eradicate is so good. Eradicate can hit a ton of cards, whereas almost all the other ones only banish like a couple, right? So Leave No Witnesses banishes a random one from the top, or just whatever's on the top, but also 1 card in the arsenal, so you have 2 chances to hit to complete the contract here. We also have another one over here that we'll talk about in just a second. Let's talk about Regicide. This is a very interesting corner case card. It's very flashy, very, very flavorful, but not... It's not going to make it into your deck all the time. Let's just put it that way. It is a 0-cost 3 block, which is pretty good. Like I said, they all you know, block for 3. They all have pretty good stat lines, but this one says Legendary Arachne Specialization, so you can only have 1 in your deck. When this hits a royal hero, they lose the game, and when the combat chain closes, you lose the game. So no matter what, someone's going to die when you play this. Regicide can't be defended by cards with the same name as cards in the defending hero's banished zone. Once again, going back to Eradicate here. Eradicate's so good for the Assassin class. You're going to eradicate a bunch of cards from their deck, put them in the banner zone, and it'll make it so Regicide is, you know, easier to hit with. One important note, that damage can still be prevented. So if your opponent has an Oasis Respite, they can still Oasis Respite your Regicide, even if they can't defend it. So yeah, keep that in mind. Next up we have the other of the color contract cards. So these are the big contract cards, the majestic color contract cards. Surgical Extraction is the blue one, cares about blue cards. Obviously, Leave No Witnesses is the red card, cares about red cards. Eradicate yellow, cares about yellow. I will note that Eradicate, even though the yellow cards are probably the least likely to be, you know, fulfilled, just the fact that it, you know, banishes so many makes it so good. So Surgical Extraction is another incredibly good one. All of the majestic ones are absurd. So this one is a 2 for 4. They all attack for 4, which is another thing. I love this. I love the design space here. So we have a blue 2 for 4, the yellow 1 for 4, and the red 0 for 4. So anyway, the blue 2 for 4 says contract blue cards. When this hits, banish the top card of their deck, then look at their hand and banish a card. So this card is nuts. This card basically reads, block me with your whole hand, or else you're going to lose something. Yeah, this card's awesome because it always forces something out of your opponent's hand. And that's one of the best parts about Assassin, is that, like, your opponent can't just take it, right? They can't just, like, ignore these attacks. You cannot ignore the Assassin's attacks. They're going to take something from you, and it's going to hurt. Just like this guy in the picture here. Wish Newton, dude, the art is brutal. So yeah, all 3 of these cards, absolute key to the Assassin class. Regicide, not so much, but these 3, the red, the yellow, and the blue, amazing cards. Absolutely love them. Yeah, they're the staples of the deck. We also have Payday. Payday is a 0 cost. It's an action. It says if you completed a contract this turn, create 4 silver tokens. Once again, this also does not have Go Again, so you literally have to play something, give it Go Again to even play this at all. So that's kind of a tricky thing here. It does create 4 silvers, so that does represent getting your equipment back twice or playing a cash-in, which cash-in is going to be really good. Cash-in is a generic action where you can destroy 2 silvers and then draw 2 cards, which is really, really good. It's also going to be a staple of this class. So Payday, it's interesting. It's a blue card, right? It's a blue 0, blocks for 3. Like I said, they all block for 3. So I think it's good. I think it'll probably get into the deck. I love the flavor here, and I love the quote from Jackdaw. Another day, another job, another rat to kill. Jackdaw. I like it. It'll probably get into the Assassin decks. But like I said, it's mostly just a good way to fuel your equipment pieces, and probably more importantly, a cash-in. All right, next up we have some common, well, this is a rare. I misspoke already. This is Plunder the Poor. We have Plunder the Poor, and then we have Rob the Rich. We have a lot of alliteration going on here. So Plunder the Poor is a 0 for 4 contract card, and you want to banish cards with cost 1 or less, and then when it hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. Now, most of these other cards, they're just going to have this very simple, when it hits a hero, banish the top card of the deck. All of the spicy ones, like Eradicate, Leave No Witnesses, hitting Arsenal, Surgical Extraction, hitting hand. These ones are all like the really spicy ones. Almost all these other ones just banish just the top card of the deck, which is where Mask of Perdition and ARAKNI's ability comes in. So you can at least sculpt it and get a little bit more of a chance to hit and fulfill that contract. Whereas these other cards make it a little bit easier. And yeah, it does come in a yellow 0 for 3 and a blue 0 for 2 version. Yeah, I mean, like, these cards are going to be situational, I think. They're going to be matchup dependent. It's going to be really interesting to see how folks build these decks in Blitz because there's no sideboard, where in Classic Constructed, you can kind of swap them in and out, right? So if you know your opponent's playing, like, Guardian or something, you'll get these ones out because they probably don't have any 1 or less cards, or, you know, very few 1 or less cards. Whereas Rob the Rich is the opposite. It's a 1 for 5, which is pretty good. When you're contracted, it's basically contract 2 or greater cards. And then when it hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. So yeah, this one would be really good against Guardian, whereas Plunder, not so much, right? Plunder's like probably really good against Fi, right? That's kind of where you know, mix up your deck building here. The next card is Brutal Children Avert Your Gaze, because holy crap. Here is Shred. Oh man, Shred is, it looks like a 1980s, early 90s horror movie poster for like Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, and I love it. Oh, I love it so much. Henrik Lindner. Dude, it looks so rad. So this is a 0 cost assassin attack reaction. Target card defending an assassin attack against -4 this combat chain. And that's just any card, like equipment, attack, defense reactions, just regular cards from hand. This card is so good. Oh, it is so good. And what I love so much about this, and I love the design space here, because it doesn't necessarily make you deal more damage, right? So if your opponent lets the attack go through, Shred doesn't increase the damage, right? If they're not blocking at all. But what it does do is it absolutely wrecks whatever defense they have. I love the flavor here. I love how it's somewhat kind of pushed. You know, a 0 for 4 is like pretty good as a reaction, but it's like somewhat situational. You're still probably going to run this no matter what, but it's so good. And then the yellow is a 0 for -3, and then the blue is a 0 for -2. I think they're all really, really good, especially the yellow and the blue here. Get some good resources for them. They still all block for 3. And you can get some really good use case. You really need your assassin cards to hit to get these really, really powerful effects. So you're going to be running a lot of cards that give your stuff go again, and a lot of cards that are like basically attack reactions. All right, next up we have Annihilate the Armed. So this one is contracted to banish opponent's attack action card. So really good against aggressive decks, probably not so good against like Kano, right? So when this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. So same kind of deal. It's a 1 for 5, still pretty good rate. You know, attack action cards, a lot of decks run these, so you'll probably be playing this one quite a bit. So we have a 1 for 5, a 1 for 4, and then a 1 for 3. Like I said, a lot of these rares and common ones are very situational, but, you know, they're pretty good. Most of them will make the cut. Next up, we have Fleece the Frail. So this is a 0 for 4, and it says you need to banish opponents' cards with defense 2 or less. So I don't know, good against Ranger, I guess. This is probably one of the more niche ones. A lot of cards block for 3 in Flesh and Blood. I think this will probably be one of the harder ones to hit, or the least consistent ones to hit, right? A lot of cards will block for, you know, a lot of cards will block for 3 or more, but it almost, you know, discounts a lot of defense reactions too. It's interesting, but yeah, we'll see. Also, the art's really cool though. So it's a 0 for 4, we have a 0 for 3, and a 0 for 2. Next up, we have Nyx the Nimble. This one's interesting. So this one is a 1 for 5, and you need to banish your opponent's reaction cards. So I guess this one would be good against maybe Warriors, any other classes that use a lot of reactions, or maybe even defense reactions. It's another interesting one. And then, you know, when it hits a hero, banish top card of the deck. This one's also going to be very, very hard to pull off. I think this is the most difficult contract to fulfill. They're too nimble. They're too nimble. We got a 1 for 5, we got a 0 or 1 for 5, a 1 for 4, and a 1 for 3. But the art also, oh, so good. Narendra Biati, holy crap. Next up we have Sack the Shifty. Oh, I love this one. I love the name of this card. So there's another 0 for 4. You have a lot of really, really good rates on the assassin cards. 0 for 4s, 1 for 5s. Great, great rates on these cards. So 0 for 4. This one is you need to contract banish cards with Go Again that have base Go Again. So good against Briar and Ninja. So yeah, once again, good against certain classes, completely useless against others, right? You don't want to play this against Wizard, for example. None of their stuff has Go Again. So Yeah, another sideboard card. Assassins are looking to be a very techy class, right? You really have to tech and know what your opponent is playing, so you can tech your assassin cards so you can fulfill your contracts. It's super interesting. I really, really love it. We obviously have a 0 for 3 and a 1 for 2 on Sack the Shifty. I just love this name, man. Next up, we have Slay the Scholars. This is another 0 for 4. This poor bearded dude he's not long for this world. So this one is you're contracted to banish attack or non-attack action cards. So once again, this one would be good against wizards if, you know, the last one was good against other classes, not wizards. So yeah, 0 for 4. We have a 0 for 3 and then a 0 for 2. Yeah, once again, it's just the biggest part about playing Assassin, or at least one of the biggest things, is going to be knowing your opponent's deck and knowing what contract cards to bring in against their deck, at least in Classic Constructed. In UPF and Blitz, it's going to be super interesting building Assassin decks. Maybe you put like a couple of these in here and there. Oh, I don't know. All right, final card, and one of my favorite ones. This is Cut to the Chase. This card is, oh, it is so good. This is a 0 cost attack reaction. So we're actually getting 2 assassin attack reactions with the Shred and Cut to the Chase. Combined with Razor Reflex, you might be running up to 9 assassin attack reaction or attack reactions in your assassin deck. So Cut to the Chase is amazing. It's a 0 drop. Target assassin attack action card with contract gains +3. So this is a 0 for 3. This is probably one of the best attack reactions they've ever printed, because it also has an ability. Look at the top card of Defending Heroes deck. You may put it on the bottom. So it's nuts, kind of. It's kind of nuts, because if you're playing a contract card, you already get to look at the top card and put it on the bottom if you want with ARAKNI's hero ability. Now you're going to do it again. So you can like kind of dig and make sure, and you can also like disrupt what your opponent's doing. They don't know what what you're putting on the bottom. It really messes up those players who like pitch stack and try to memorize everything. You can really, really throw people off. I absolutely love the Assassin class. Absolutely love ARAKNI. It's so my playstyle. It's kind of like this aggressive, almost mid-rangey deck that has this graveyard recursion mechanics. One of my favorite cards of all time from any card game is Recurring Nightmare. I get Recurring Nightmare vibes from stuff like Black Tech Whisperers. I can't wait. I cannot wait to build Assassin. I'm so stoked. Eradicate and Leave No Witnesses also has just some of the freaking best art in Flesh and Blood. I love it so much. Alexander Mokov and Soyame, just absolutely brilliant jobs. I would love to see both of these characters as heroes in the future. This Assassin Girl and this Assassin Girl, I love them. They're the best. They're the best. So please let me know what you think in the comments down below. I've already spent like 20 minutes just gushing about Assassin, going into a deep dive into this. I really do think you're going to build this deck like a almost aggro mid-range, where you have a bunch of cards that give your stuff go again. You have a bunch of attack reactions, and then you have all these cards that let you do your contract shenanigans, and then some contract payoffs like cash-in. So you can like cash in your silver to draw cards. So you can imagine really big turns where you have a cash in your arsenal starting with a couple silver, so you can just immediately start with a 6-card hand, right? If you're able to just take a bunch of damage, maybe block with your equipment, because your equipment blocks decently well. Block with your equipment, and then, you know, keep a 4-card hand, play your cash in, draw 2, and then have a 6-card hand turn. You can push so much damage. This is going to be, oh, it's going to be so sweet. The trickiest parts, like I said, is going to be giving your stuff go again. That's going to be one of the hardest things, because you really need that go again on all of your contract cards. The Black Tech Whisperers definitely helps, but it's not guaranteed. So that's where stuff like Shred and Cut to the Chase come in. You'll also probably want to run Razor Reflex, because Razor Reflex will pump every single one of these assassin cards except for Surgical Extraction. This is the only assassin card that costs 2 or more. But all the rest cost either 0 or 1. So yeah, Razor Reflex, eating good, eating good. Anyway, I'm done talking about Assassin for now. We're going to talk about Assassin more in the future. I plan on getting one of the developers who designed the Assassin class onto the Living Legends podcast to talk about Assassin. Spoilers, it's Brian Gottlieb. He's already agreed to be on the podcast. I'm super looking forward to it. It's going to be a ton of fun. Brian Gottlieb is a fantastic guy, and I really, really enjoy chatting with him. So having him officially on the podcast is going to be awesome. We're going to talk about Assassin. I'm going to do a lot more with Assassin coming up. Going to be playing a lot of Assassin. Going to do some deck techs and all that kind of stuff, but also a lot of other heroes in Flesh and Blood. There's so much cool stuff in Dynasty. Definitely going to make like a rock KO deck. Going to be playing around with some new Dromai tools and some new Ranger tools. Just so much stuff. Dynasty is just an absolute home run slam dunk set. It's awesome. And of course, Assassin. Ooh, Assassin. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate it if you leave a like, comment, subscribe, maybe check out the affiliate links, my online store, all that kind of good stuff. It really helps me keep doing this, and I appreciate it oh so much. Tell me what your favorite Assassin card is in the comments down below, and why is it Eradicate. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.